Today, I have a special treat for you guys. I was thinking about back in the day, Diablo 3, I know Dan's game for some of you guys. Diablo 3, people would, when the auction house was around, build budget gear sets and show the process of doing that. I actually thought that was really educational and interesting, seeing the different ways to build really budget gear sets. I've been playing this Sparker here. I've been using things like Voltaxic Rift and Drillneck and all this expensive seeming gear, but having played this build self-found at the beginning of the league, I can say that you can play a Sparker exceptionally cheap, and I want to show both that, and I also want to run you guys through the process of what building a gear set is like from scratch, right? So literally starting with no gear. Now, the good news is that when you actually play a character and level a character, you never actually have to start from scratch, right? So I'm going to do this on a 10 chaos budget, which is very cheap, and you will find 10 chaos in mixed currency while leveling. It's very unlikely that you won't find 10 chaos in mixed currency, right? In like the ults you get, the random fuses and alks, and even chaos orbs that you find while leveling. Sometimes you'll get even lucky and you'll find more while leveling, but 10 chaos, totally achievable amount to get to when you get to endgame first. So that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna build from scratch, so all of my gear pieces with 10 chaos, but usually you'll actually have a couple good gear pieces while you're leveling. You'll find a couple nice like life double res pieces or something that are good enough to get you into endgame. So usually won't actually have to buy everything, but we're gonna buy everything anyway, just because I think it'll be interesting. Now I haven't actually practiced this or done like a dry run or anything, but I'm pretty confident that we can build a functional gear set for 10C. So that is what we're going to do. I mean, there's a little bit of a challenge with this as well that should be interesting, because people don't tend to sell things that are less than an ALK usually on Pee-wee Trade. Like they'll be AFK and ignore it if it's less than an ALK, so it can be a little challenging because we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gear slots to fill out. So it might be a little tricky to get some of those things because we actually only have 10C, right? Now, I was thinking the best place to start typically is going to be a chest. That's usually going to be the biggest expenditure that you'll have for your baseline gear. Everything else can be done super cheaply, but it's worth spending a little bit more on your chest armor. Now, you can get I think there's perception, especially amongst newer players, that you can't get 5 or 6 links very easily, that they're very difficult to obtain, but you can get a 5 link super cheaply if you kind of are willing to just settle for a dodgy 5 link. And you can even potentially get 6 links really cheap, outside of the realm of the 10 chaos budget, but you can get 6 links, like corrupted 6 links and things like that, really cheaply as well. So we're going to be using Pee-wee Trade, the trading website for Path of Exile, Pee-wee.trade, and I'm trading in Hardcore Parandus just here. So first up, we're going to have a look at body armors. So to do that, we just search by actual body armor. You want to think about your spell that you're using, or your skill that you're using, and what sort of colors you're going to need in that. We are using a combination of blue and green, being Spark, with things like Projectile, Pierce, and Faster Projectiles maybe, stuff like that. So we want a combination of blue and green, but that means we can either use Energy Shield or green and keep it cheap. You can use other types of gear, but that will incur a higher chroming cost. So you can do that by putting in 1 on shield, and that will give you both energy shield and evasion pieces. And it'll give you shield, evasion, energy shield pieces together. Whereas if you put it in evasion, you'll end up getting pure evasion bases, which won't be so good. So we're just going to search 5 links. First up, nice and easy. Click search there, online only, so we can find people right now. You can get 5 links super cheaply, and we're going to just find the cheapest ones available. We have here a Crypt Armor, level 56. This is, I'm assuming that this is going to be about 65-ish character, which is typically when you get to endgame-ish area. So there we go, a 1C Crypt Armor right there. Now, because we're doing this on a super, normally what I would do is I would buy this, and I haven't decided whether I want to include just like a stack of alterations or something in this budget, because typically you're going to have like a stack of alts and things to be able to craft. There's 2 ways about this. You can buy something that just has some okay stats on it. I personally like to just chuck an alk on a 5 link that I buy a white 5 link and chuck an alk on it. Or you can even just transmute alteration. Someone did actually make a good suggestion in chat. If you put in 0 max armor, or 1 max armor even, sorry, 1 max armor, that'll stop you from seeing any armor ES pieces. So we'll actually do that because it'll make our search a little easier. So let's gonna have a look first what we have available here. See if there's any ones that have like life and a resistance. That's all we really need. Here's a 1.5 Chaos 5 link with 64 life and 23 cold res. That's a pretty decent starting point. We're definitely going to keep that one in mind. What do you guys in chat think? Do you think it would be reasonable to include in our 10C budget or add to our 10C budget some like transmutes, augments, and alterations? Chat's voting yes that it's reasonable to include some alterations. So we'll include a stack of 10 transmutes, 20 augments, and 20 alterations. That's what we'll include in our, because I mean you're gonna have that while leveling, right? I think it's pretty reasonable to do that. Now we can look at just getting a white one and crafting it ourselves, which is probably what we want to do. Only do priced items to make it fair. Okay, all right, that's a fair point. Well, I'll go with priced items, and we won't offer in items that don't have a listed price. That's actually a pretty reasonable point. We'll do that. All right, so we're gonna look for a base here. Preferably, this build doesn't really get much benefit from shield, so we're gonna go with an evasion energy shield piece. This crypt armor looks pretty good, and I think we might rock it. So we're gonna probably get that crypt armor. There's another one just here that neither of them have 20 quality. That one's got 2 green, 3 blue. They both have 2 green, 3 blue. All right, we're gonna whisper this guy. All right, so you click the whisper button, then you can just control V in game, and then you can send that guy a message just there. So that's very nice and easy. We'll get our 1C ready. I was expecting that we might have had to spend like 2, maybe 2.5 chaos on a 5-link chest, so the fact that we're able to get one for 2C here and then just alterate it for a life and a resist is perfect. So that's what we're gonna do first. Get this chest slot out of the way first, get the resist that we end up getting on it, and then we can, are we still in the party here? We'll go to this guy's hideout, and then we can build the rest of our gear around maxing out our resists. Alright, 1C, perfect crypt armor. Thank you. 5 links, so cheap these days. So very cheap and easy to get 5 links. There's pretty much no excuse for not having a 5 link. And look at us looking absolutely ravishing already with our 5 link. So, obviously you're gonna 20 quality this up. I added armorers to it, uh-oh. The currency budget just keeps spiraling out of control. Alright, so there we go. 20 quality that one up. We're gonna transmute. Oh, fuck. Jesus, that was actually very lucky. Usually I'd expect to spend around 10-15 alterations getting something like this, but settle at this point when you're building your first budget set for something like 60-70 life and 30-ish resist. That's what you're settling for, and then with the idea that you will regal and mastercraft it later. But we actually transmuted and got a very, very nice life and fire res roll, so I'm cheating a little bit because streamer RNG, but you know, as I said, the usual expected price is about 10 to 15 alterations, so. But there we go. So much for budget, I quit. I can't follow this, I don't have that level of RNG. So that's actually, in this case, this is actually a brilliant candidate to regal straight away. So if we had a regal now at this point, we would regal that and then mastercraft additional life on that. We may end up actually working that into our budget. How much are regals going for on here at the moment? Because it may or may not be worth us getting that extra regal mastercraft happening now. We can open up the PoE currency trade website here, because that will make the rest of our gearing a little bit easier, but that's a very nice starting point for sure. So we're gonna search for, we want a regal orb, and we have a chaos orb. Why do you 20 quality before? You 20 quality before because if it's a white item, it only takes 4 armor scraps to get it to 20 quality, you get 5 per, but if it's blue, you only get 2 per, so you actually need to do 10. So you save money by doing it beforehand. So that's why you quality it first. Apparently this guy's doing 1-to-1 with chaos to regals. So if we were to do that, we could then go to, I need to get my hideout bench. Oh no, I'm inside it. Uh-oh. There we go. So we can get something like 20 to 25 cold res for another 6 augments, right? Now, what I'll usually do, and I think we'll actually go through this process because I think it's actually a pretty important part of this, is we're going to end up spending about 2.5 C on this chest total, if you include the alterations that you'd spend, which is about what I was expecting, so that's pretty good. Alright, we're going to try and see if we can contact this seller here. He's probably hoping for a bulk sale, but we're going to be like, just one please. Just one please. Smiley face. Be friendly, the Path of Exile community is very nice. There we go. Thank you. Alright, so now we regal this. Now, it honestly does not matter what we get on the regal. The point of regaling this is so that we can mastercraft it. We're happy with a life 2 res item. At this point, we're happy with that. If I happen to have streamer RNG again and get an amazing regal, then that's fine. But there's basically no way this could screw it up, and that's the important point. Now, we've got 7 lightning res, which is a pretty bad one, but it's better than nothing, right? It's a little bit of extra resist. It does restrict our ability to select which resistance we get later, so it wasn't the best thing that could have rolled. I would have actually preferred to have gotten something like evasion or a good resistance roll, but we just deal with what we get here. So, since we don't have any other option in resistance, we're going to take this and add cold res to it. So we got 22 cold res, that was 6 augments, and now we have a life, very good life roll, good fire res, decent cold res, a little bit of lightning res, 5 link, that cost us 2C and a little bit of scrap currency. So not too bad. There we go, there's Tempest Veil, and we're off to a pretty good start, honestly. That's a pretty good start. Yeah, too bad about the 7 res, but I mean, it doesn't really, you weren't gonna exalt this at any point, so it doesn't really matter that we got 7 res. It just kind of limited our options a little bit with other gear. That's the only thing that really happened, but we can just pretend that it's a life tri-res item now. Because it kind of is. But we're looking at about 70% total resist with 90 life. That's a pretty good chest. And you would buy this for more like 3 or 4C maybe on PoE trades, so we did that pretty cheaply as well.